Hi, my name is Jeff Hilland. I'm the president of the DMTF, and I also work for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Today's presentation will be on the benefits of DMTF membership. DMTF has been around for a while, so I'll go over the background, exactly who we are and some of our alliances and alliance partners, as well as benefits of standard, the DMTF standards efforts over the years, as well as benefits of membership in the DMTF. The DMTF is comprised of approximately 75 membership companies in various tiers, including board member, leadership, and participatory members. The list of companies you see here is really a who's who of who's defining the industry manageability space. We really appreciate them. The companies that are not listed, our leadership companies and our participatory members, also help to drive our standards in the organization. And we really make up a wide, diverse membership of both national and international companies. We've also got a number of alliance partnerships with other standards organizations out there, and they really help us develop a common dialogue around efforts in the industry to try and put together cohesive management strategy of standardization without any overlap and ensuring interoperability. Everybody from the Storage Networking Industry Association, UEFI, to verticals like OpenStack and other efforts like Open Compute and Open Grid and the Open Group, Cloud Standards Customer Council. New to us is ASHRAE and the Broadband Forum and NVMe, whereas other folks like Telemanagement Forum and ETSI around ETSI NFV and the Green Grid have been alliances for quite a while. And then, of course, Open Data Center, CCSA, and SESI are alliance partners as well. We also have an academic alliance partner program with over 75 universities that work in conjunction with the DMTF. As an academic alliance member, they get the benefit of looking at the standardization efforts that are going on inside of the DMTF, and that enables them to do research around the areas of infrastructure and cloud manageability. So we appreciate the relationship with our academic alliance partners. Looking at the benefits of standards, I like to break them down in a couple areas. First is the benefits for business, and then, of course, for customers. A lot of companies find it a little harder to understand the benefits of standards for the business, but really there are quite a few of them. First of all, creating a common framework from which to innovate. It's very hard to develop that whole ecosystem. Today, you need to work with partners and work with even your competitors in order to develop that common framework and that set of standards from which you can then innovate. So get that core set of functionality, get some interoperability because of it, and it really can end up increasing your total available market because you didn't have to do all the lifting on your own. And there are other parts of the ecosystem with which we can interoperate. And these days, you know, the interoperability story is pretty prevalent. You can also reduce your development costs. I'll go over this in detail in a couple of slides, but you don't have to carry the whole burden on your own, either for architecture or development. So there are a number of cost savings for a business as well. Of course, there's the support of government policies and regulations for both national and international standards. And so adopting and supporting those international standards can not only open new markets for you, but get you in a new level of interoperability as well. And then, of course, there's the visibility of companies who participate, those who drive the standard or even just show up and listen. Not only get visibility outside of the business, but you're also privy to the work that's going on before it gets released. And so you know, that can help put you on a better footing. For customers, the benefit of standards is a little more clear. You know, interoperable solutions are achieved through standards. A standard can define how different things interoperate, and that's easier to understand at a hardware level, but also happens at a software or API level as well. You need something that communicates on both ends of that standard, something that delivers it and something that uses it, and that ends up creating a set of products and features that allow customers to have a choice. One of the benefits for customers as well as businesses is that standards often result in best practices. When you get all the vendors that sit down at the table and agree on a solution, really some of the best ideas can be adopted and something better can come out than any one company could have achieved, and that benefits customers. And then, of course, reduce costs through an increased ecosystem. The more competition there is in the market, the better it is for customers there as well. Standards don't come for free, though. Businesses have to invest in the standards. It isn't just your membership dues that are required. It's also sending qualified employees to innovate and bring forward that standard at the technical leadership and business levels. Implementations of the standard, of course, take time and money. Developers as individuals want to implement and invent instead of implement a standard. And that's not always in the business's best practice and best interest. You actually may want to work on the standard instead and drive that innovation into the standard to increase your market share, market penetration, or other aspects of the business. And then, of course, the standard itself, the standard organization itself needs fees, and that's how it keeps that infrastructure, those people that help keep the ecosystem healthy, the various websites and marketing materials and messaging and infrastructure that it takes to support and move a standard through the adoption process. But standards can have a positive ROI for the business. If you look at ROI as being a benefit minus cost over cost, then by reducing your development cost, you've increased your ROI. And standards can help in that because you're amortizing the cost of the development of the architecture across the industry. You only have to send one or two people to develop that standard and that architecture, whereas every company is also sending their brightest and best, and you end up with a better product, but that cost is spread across the industry. And then there's the implementation cost side of it, which can be reduced through standards because of the open ecosystem and off-the-shelf components. And you don't have to deliver the whole solution. You can work with partners and other parts of the ecosystem to reduce that implementation cost. And of course, the benefit part of the equation includes market leadership, market share, customer satisfaction, a competitive edge, both in delivering extra value by adhering to the standard and building on top of the standard. Also the value of mergers and acquisitions, your reputation, and then there's service possibilities, providing service around a standard. And that doesn't count the benefit of being in the room developing the standard, what you learn about the standard, and that increased time to market that you can get by helping to drive and participate. The DMTF is an international standards leader. We continue to grow our global presence. We've got local bodies in China and Japan. We've got reach from members of over 43 countries, and that helps us get a very global viewpoint in developing our standards. And we're one of only 9 pass submitter organizations in the world, allowing us to go straight into ISO with our standards and not have to necessarily go through a work group process over there. We can submit them straight to ISO, and then they can in turn get adopted to ANSI, so if we so choose. And then, of course, the DMTF is open and collaborative. We've got the infrastructure in place, the care and feeding of the organization that it takes to do all this work, to drive a standard, to develop the web presence and portals and other things. But we're also open to feedback. We've got a very lightweight process for getting works in progress out early, and that provides people the opportunity to comment on the standards during the development process through the DMTF feedback portal. You can also comment on established standards through the feedback portal. We really do take that feedback seriously in driving and changing the standard to meet everyone's needs. We've also adopted policies like enabled with GitHub. We've got source out there, open source development that we've done ourselves and our members have provided, and we invite review and contributions to the tools in the public GitHub repositories. And then, of course, our standards are adopted by a bunch of open source projects out there, and there's just a few of them here on the list, everything from Java Web Services and parts of the WebM standards, but OpenBMC, OpenDRAM, OpenPegasus, OpenStack, several parts of it there, and small footprint SymBroker, and there's more being added every day. We have a website that we keep up to date as much as we can. As soon as we hear about something, we add it to that page. So if you're looking for more information, check out the DMTF website. So this is our DMTF technology diagram. We really are focused on manageability standards, and so this is probably a picture you've seen before, some sort of compute server-ish thing with storage and networking driving that IT infrastructure. Power and cooling is there as well, and that needs to be addressed, all that IT infrastructure with a virtualization or container structure sitting on top of it, and of course the whole cloud infrastructure and management on top of that. Of course, there's an administrator somewhere that has to manage that, as well as the end user devices that communicate with the instantiation of services on the cloud. And so that's where the DMTF focuses on. We've got both the standards for interacting with the parts of the ecosystem, as well as this toolbox of components that can help you deliver a standard. And so delivering on that promise, we've got Netman and Smash and Redfish for dealing with the manageability of the IT infrastructure, vMan and OVF for dealing with the virtualization, and of course SIMI-OVF and CADF for dealing with cloud infrastructure. End user devices, we've got Dash and the SMF taking care of that part of the business, and then of course the SIM, WebM, Redfish, registries, protocols, schema languages, all this toolbox of information that we've driven to help drive the adoption of those different technology areas. We don't stop communicating with the hybrid IT infrastructure. We also go inside of those solutions. Inside of the server, you can use Smash, where there's something called PMCI that is running management traffic inside the box. SM BIOS communicating BIOS conditions to the OS or hypervisor that runs. The common diagnostics model, SMF, and of course a Redfish for management inside the server. The same is true with Swordfish. There's SMIS and CDM. And of course, we work with Sneon Swordfish there in storage. And then network, there's CDM, Netman, and Redfish is working on network management as well. So there's also work going on with our alliance partners that I mentioned previously to flesh out the whole rest of this ecosystem. DMTF has been around since 1992. We're an established organization that really focuses on creating open manageability standards that span a diverse, emerging, as well as traditional IT infrastructure. And that includes cloud, virtualization, networks, servers, storage, desktops, notebooks. If it's enterprise or cloud or IT gear, we try and ensure that manageability standards exist to manage that infrastructure. We formed in 92 and came out with DMI in 94, and since then we've really evolved from that desktop management interface to be a web-based data center hybrid IT management standards organization. SIM helped drive that a lot, the common information model, and then of course DEN, and then WebM added the protocol and solutions on top of all of that. SM BIOS has been around since 99. It's in virtually every x86 machine built since 99. It's one of the standards that exists that you have in your machines and probably don't know you use. ASF and the common diagnostics model have been around. And then around mid-2000s, we started focusing on whole solutions with Smash and Dash to manage that server and desktop and mobile hardware with profiles based on SIM. PMCI came next, where we were routing signals inside the infrastructure to allow management traffic to go in and manage components and enable that communication. And then we focused on virtualization starting in about 2008 with OVF and vMan, and then WSMan came out about the same time. After that, CMDBF, the Configuration Management Database Federation Standard, came out, and then around the beginning of the next decade, we started the cloud initiatives with the cloud initiative itself, CADF and SIMI, and the Open Software Defined Data Center. And then Netman started focusing in about 2013, and then of course mid-decade Redfish came along and started addressing all of that in a RESTful way, still focusing on starting on the CPU and compute side of the server, but expanding scope as customers dictated to include working with other standards organizations like Sneon, Swordfish, and Green Grid on power and cooling, and IETF on network management. And for more information on that, you can look at the Redfish slide decks and presentations. So benefits of DMTF membership. How do DMTF members benefit. Really, you get easy access and insights into the creation into the specifications, as well as the underlying technology. You've got the ability to impact the industry by driving or participating in the process of defining the standards. And if you don't want to drive it, you also can learn a whole lot by being in that room and understand the thought process behind what the standards are, because standards tend to be normative in nature and less informative. And while we do try and produce a great deal of educational material, not all of it makes it out on the web as much as we wish it did. Of course, you benefit from reduced development, design, and startup costs with access to DMTF's collaborative development tools, as well as experts in the broad knowledge base that exists inside the DMTF. You've got the opportunity to work alongside and interact directly with some of the industry's top specialists in their field. These are some of the best and brightest that help drive our standards, and they're not only a pleasure to work with, but they're more than willing to answer questions about our interoperable management standards. Of course, you gain increased visibility through the DMTF's industry-wide marketing efforts, initiatives, events, and other opportunities. So really, I think any organization that fits in any of these categories really should consider membership in the DMTF. If you're a provider of any type of IT, virtualization, or cloud product, we've got standards moving in that direction as well. End users of technology or customers, we really want your input as well. You really are who we're facing these standards at, because that's the end game, is to get customers to adopt solutions that leverage our standards. Of course, if you're a vendor delivering a development a product based on the standard management framework for your products or services, or if you're using that standard or service, we think the DMTF has a home for you. And then, of course, whether you're a platform, virtualization, or cloud management standard provider, the DMTF should be your home. And then, of course, if you're delivering management solutions based on web standards at all, XML, JSON, HTTP, REST, DMTF is very active in those spaces and would also make a good home for you. Now, the DMTF, the work here is funded through membership dues. We're one of the most cost-effective in the industry when you compare the cost of dues and in various aspects of the organization and the different membership levels. There's probably a membership level that's right for you. So I'd like you to consider membership in the DMTF. So in summary, really who the DMTF is, we're a management standards organization that is focused on driving manageability in this industry. We're led by innovative industry-leading companies, and we've got global presence from 43 countries with local bodies in China and Japan. What we do is standards. Standards that support implementations that enable management from both traditional and emerging technologies, including cloud, virtualization, network, compute, storage, and the rest. We're an internationally recognized organization, recognized by ANSI and ISO, and our standards go through that process, and that really helps us to develop a more integrated and cost-effective approach to manageability. So please consider joining the DMTF. We'd love to have you. The membership offers an opportunity to impact the industry in a way that's very hard to do otherwise. We maintain ourselves as an ideal forum. We've got the processes and procedures in place in a collegial environment established where we all collaborate and cooperate in order to develop relevant interoperable management standards. So I'd like to encourage you to visit the dmtf.org for more information. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today.